My job is to make you want it, and your job is to resist. And I live by
Mm.
that. Like I live by
Mm-hmm.
that. If my job is to do my, if I do my absolute best for you, you gonna want everything.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's the whole point.
Welcome, friends, back to another episode of Success by Design with yours truly, Michael T. Davis. And I'm here with none other than Raquita Henderson, owner of Pinxit Photos. Raquita is an amazing storyteller. And for me, on my journey with album sales and Fundy, I would not be here. You would not be listening to me if Raquita wasn't there. An amazing coach. She's spoken on many platforms at many different conferences and has been published around, especially in Munaluchi. And Raquita is just a jack of all trades when it comes to creative and a lover of all people. And I'm excited for her just to share her knowledge and wisdom with us today. Raquita, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, Rakita, I would love for you to share how did you get started in this industry with photography, with weddings? I know you do families and other things. So walk us through because I know you're an overall lover of all things creative.
Um, I started in the most cliche way possible. When I was a kid, my dad gave me a camera when I was 12, and I harassed my family endlessly with that camera. Um, took pictures of everybody and everything for a few years. And when I was 14, my aunts decided that I should probably be doing weddings. She had me shoot her daughter's wedding to see if I was good enough to shoot her wedding. And that was how I got into weddings. My aunt asked me to shoot her wedding when I was 14. They bought me a tuxedo and 10 rolls of film and sent me on my way to harass them through this wedding with a camera. And that literally just started a snowball. I shot every wedding for every person I was related to. And also everybody they knew from the time I was 14 till I was 21-ish, 22. And I figured out that I had been giving people a $2,000 wedding present because I did all of those weddings for free. And then when I got engaged, that's when I figured it out. I was like, oh, wait, stop. People make money doing this? But um, by the time I got to my husband, he was like, so the only time you're happy is when you're taking pictures or you're cooking. So you need to either open a restaurant or open a photo studio. So I went to culinary school for a couple years because I'm slow. You got to beat me over the head with the ideas. And about 3 semesters in, my husband had gained 25 pounds. And he said, I was trying to wait for you to figure it out, but I can't afford to wait to figure it out. You should be opening a photo studio. So I opened a
hmm
studio in 2008. I quit my job in 2009, and it has been my full-time job ever since.
Oh, I love it. And you just dropped a whole nugget in there. You shot your first wedding on film. How was that
Yeah.
process?
Oh, I didn't know any better. So I've been shooting. I'm old. It's like when it comes to gear, I'm an old head. I've been shooting weddings since before digital was a thing. My first wedding was in like 92, 93. So it's been a long time for me. Um, I didn't get into weddings as my career though until digital was really a thing. In 2008 is when the digital cameras became affordable for people.
hmm hmm
I had digital cameras, but they were not SLRs. Like um, I had the kind of digitals that recorded onto CDs and floppy disks. Like
Yeah.
I've had every possible camera possible. And so when I had my first kid, my husband bought me my first DSLR. And because he was tired of spending money on film, he was like, this can't possibly be more expensive than what we spend on film.
Yeah.
And that's how I got my first digital camera. And at that same time, my sister's best friend became a wedding planner. And I had shot all of her family's weddings on film. And so she was like, will you do these weddings for my clients? And that's how it started. Like, she was actually the catalyst to get me into doing it as a job, her and
Gotcha.
my husband. So
Gotcha.
my film process was stupid stupid. It was just dumb. Like I shot 10 rolls of film. I would put it in a cute little gift bag and hand it to the bride and groom before I left. Like I didn't even develop a lot of that film
Yeah, yeah.
because I didn't want to pay for the developing. Like people
Mm-hmm.
feel like um shoot and burn has been is something that happened with digital. No, people were shooting and burning with film. Like just shoot it, develop it, and hand it over. Like that was a thing. Like the same amount of effort that people put into dark rooms, like dark room developing now in our computers, people used to do that in film. Like you could do all the same dodging and burning and layers and all of that in film just as easy as you could in digital. It just took a different set of skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was trained in darkroom. I trained for several years in how to develop in darkroom. It's just a lot of work, just like it's a lot of work to touch and edit every digital file. So what is old is new again.
Yeah. So how did you transition from you giving your first initial clients the roll of film, like you shoot it, you give it to them, to now all everyone walks away with albums and prints?
Well, for me, when it was a transition to digital that did it. Because even when I was shoot and burning with film, I was confident that my clients were going to have a print. Like they were going to get at very least 4x6 prints they could do something with.
Gotcha.
I didn't have to worry about them printing it and then not doing anything with it. I knew they were going to put it in an album or do something with them because
Mm-hmm.
they had everything. They had the negatives, they could do anything with it. When we went to digital, um, those first memory cards were expensive. Like they were expensive the way CFast cards or Express SD cards are
Yep.
expensive now.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it felt back then. Like a 512 megabyte memory card was costly and you
Wow.
could get 40, 50 pictures on it, and you thought you was balling out because that was two rolls of film versus one. It was like a whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. So, um, and I wasn't gonna give my client the memory card, and my clients weren't the kind of people who were gonna buy me a memory card to take with them. So then I had to figure out how to give them the pictures. And because I was on that cusp of coming out of the land where film met print, in my mind, digital automatically met print. Like
Makes sense.
there was no one who was saying, I want the digital files. They didn't have the software or means or ways to enjoy it digitally. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I was never in a space where my clients only existed for phones or internet or social media because none of that existed at the point in which I started digital. So like people are like, well, why come it was just not a thing. Like you didn't just give people the digital files. What were they going to look at them all? Like
Yeah.
everybody in my world didn't have a computer. Everybody in my world, like it just didn't. Like I was still going to have them printed somewhere. Like in my city, there was a pro lab. Oh, I can't remember what it was called, but there was a pro lab in my city that would print digitals. And so like I would take them there and they would print them in whatever sizes I asked for. And that's what I would give people when I started shooting digitally because I wasn't going to give them a memory card.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's
So
interesting is that the you said it's the easy transition. You were just like from print, like I'm giving them film, they're still printing that out, and then when digital came, it was just seamless. Like people expected to have
digital files.
something tangible. And it's like from that generation to today's generation where it's like that instant gratification, you know?
So I think that I think that there's a disconnect between what what photographers in general think and value and what people think and value. I think that people still value prints. They just don't know. Like we are like two generations removed from your grandma having a wall full of your like school prints on the
Mm-hmm.
wall. And my when I was a kid, um, and I'm what I guess Generation Z or X or something. I'm a zennial, something. I don't know. Whatever I am, my grandma had everybody's school picture on the wall. Our families weren't families that did a lot of family portraits. And so your school picture was a big deal. And when you got it, You would bring the 8x10 to your grandma's house and she would update your frame, and it was a whole big deal about how different you look. She would pop that frame and the difference of the pictures would be back there because she would just layer the next one on top, and you would be able to open it up when she did that and be able to see all your different pictures. Like that was a thing. And my kids did not have that. Like my children who are 19 and 20 now did not have that. So going from, and then now children who are like in that 20, I'm going to say 25 to 20-year-olds, they were maybe 25 to 35 as the last generation whose parents still bought the school picture, did not ask for a digital copy of the school picture.
Guilty.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You still buy the school picture. You just started asking for a digital file from the school picture people. Like I know a lot of parents who just in the last 3 to 5 years were like, I don't need the print. I just want the digital from the school picture people. And the school picture people are obliging. Like that's the thing. Like volume school people are now offering a digital in ways that they did not 5, 10 years ago. So, which is ironic because they're gonna get turned right around and people are gonna go right back to asking for prints.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like we are just getting to the age where these are the kids, these are the young people, these are the parents who have computers who died, who've had phones that they lost that didn't get backed up into the cloud, who had important memories that are stuck and dead on computers or devices that they cannot get that data off of. Like those X's and O's will never come off. I
Mm-hmm.
have a computer in my closet that I have not been able to get pictures off of. That is my oldest daughter's first 3 years that a computer died. Cannot bring myself to throw the computer away, but it's in a closet. My husband asked, "Are we throwing this away yet?" Nope. And that hard drive sits there waiting for me to figure out how to get those memories off that computer.
Mm-hmm.
Like how to be able to afford it because it can be
Yeah.
done, but it's like $10,000.
Yeah.
And they're worth $10,000 to me. That's why I still have the hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have 10 grand.
I love how you introduce like the generational mindset, right? It's because like so I'll be 38 this year, and I remember my mom having those old school albums where you
Yeah.
slipped in the prints, and like that's just a very vivid memory of like my first interaction with an
With
album.
photos.
And so, and my children, you know, they see my wedding albums and stuff like that. But I try to make a conscious effort of printing their photos on the wall and having them see that because I notice maybe their friends, they don't have that, you
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
they're not on the wall. So they don't have those family albums unless they hired a photographer that you know offers them. So you're
Yep.
right, like that generational gap. And I'm curious for you, you feel the need like within there. You seem to have like I want to say like a superwoman cape that says, you know what, regardless of the generation, like I'm going to make sure that your memories are preserved. Why is that really so important to you?
Um, my parents are no longer together. My parents got married young, had a beautiful marriage, and then decided to uncouple. Um, my family has one Polaroid of my parents' marriage. They got married under an oak tree in a local park,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one Polaroid from there. Um, the important things about our family, because whether my parents are still together, our family existed and it mattered in the time that it existed, and we have evidence of where we came from. And we have smaller little pictures. And my mom made like one time when I was 12, because my brother's 8 years younger than me, and he was like 2 or 3 in the picture. My mom got me and my sister and my brother all dressed up, took us to Olin Mills, and had us take a picture. And she saved and saved to be able to buy this 11 by 14 frame picture that cost too much for her. Like, but it was so important. Like that she scraped and saved, and she bought it. And it has been in our family, and it has been on multiple walls. When my parents divorced, it went into a box. It has shown up at my father's house. It has shown up at my mother's house because that print matters. Like who we were in that time where our family was matters. And so that print that she had to scrimp and save for is super valuable to me. It's me and my sister and my brother at that particular time. Like my children make it matter to me. I have a 19-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 12-year-old. When my 15-year-old was 6, um, I suffer from the same first kid you do everything for,
Yeah.
second kid you do something for, third kid, what third kid?
They figure it out.
Um, so my middle kid, when she was like 6, she walked up to me and said, "There are pictures of Gabby all over this house, and there aren't any of me." And so
Mm.
I printed 50 prints of her in various sizes and framed them and put them all over our house. My son, when he was, I want to say he was probably 8 or so, he was like, I was like, before you even say it, I went and ordered like large canvases of him as a baby. He was the only baby I did a newborn session with because that wasn't a thing when my older kids were small, but it was a
Mm-hmm.
thing when I had my son. So we did a newborn session. So my son he's in a picture like this little baby behind me. Like so I have those kind of pictures with my son on my wall in my house. And my children and the way that they perceive their value by the way we display them matters to me. There was a study done, I want to say in the early 2000s, that said that children who grow up in homes where the pictures are on the wall have higher self-esteem, get better grades, are calmer and more um, well-functioning adults. Like it was this whole study, and I was like, if all I got to do is love you out loud, because that's what it is. Like when it all boils down to
Mm-hmm.
it, putting pictures of your family on the wall or printing them out so that they can touch them is a physical act of love. It's like an act of it's like 3 different love languages all at once. It's touch, it's act of service, it's in what's the other one? Words of affirmation. Like it's all those things in a physical moment so that your kid feels like, oh, they must love me. I'm on, like, look at how I'm here. Like, I belong here. Like, I'm here. And that's like, who doesn't want that? Like, who doesn't want that for themselves? Who doesn't want that for their children? Who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want that for the people that you love? And like, when people tell me, oh, I don't want to print, what I hear is I'm afraid of how I feel.
Mm.
That's what I hear. When somebody tells me, oh, why would I put myself on my wall? Why wouldn't you? Like, you don't like yourself?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you want to show that this is my relationship, and these are the people that I love, and this is my community, and this is my core? Why wouldn't you?
I love it. This is like a whole masterclass on like mindset shift.
I feel like most people, the funny thing about it is that I don't know that I become the person that I am without photography
Mm-hmm.
pushing me
Mm-hmm.
into the active act of loving people. Like my children, my oldest daughter, she says all the time, "Mom, you love everybody and you can see the best in everybody." And I feel like photography taught me that. Like photography taught me how to see people in the ways that I feel like people need to be seen. And it's not hard to choose to see people in their like the absolute best possible version of you. And until you show me otherwise, why would I believe otherwise? Like
Yeah.
why would I believe you are less than your absolute best?
I love it. I love it. And you know what? And when like I got goosebumps when you were saying that printing out the pictures is just loving yourself or your children or whoever that picture is out loud. Like I never thought about that way. Like just loving
Absolutely.
them out loud. Absolutely amazing. So I would love to hear about a particular memorable or challenging photo session or wedding or client that you've taken.
Oh,
And how
yeah.
you overcame the obstacles. We're talking about, loving people and seeing people for who they are, but sometimes people are difficult.
Well, I feel like for me, the difficulty is in the consult. If I can get you on board the train, most people go with me. Like they go with me on the train. Um, Most people like it becomes a harder thing for the people to do when when they have to get into the boat with me. Like getting people into the boat with me is the hardest part because I am so committed to it. And
Hmm.
people be like, if I'm not into this with her, this is not gonna be a good time for either one of us. And I think
Yeah.
people understand that. So usually by the time I get people into the space, now I will say it has been more challenging because I've started leaning into portraits more. It has been more challenging in like the senior space, because seniors are such an interesting development, like life stage. Like seniors are in a very transitional space. They're going
Hmm.
from child to adult. They're going, and their parents are in this very difficult space where you have to let go of your child being a child and let them be an adult. And that is very difficult for parents. And the senior session to the parent feels like the last chance for me to have my baby. And the senior session to the senior feels like this is my first chance to be my, like, this is my chance to be who I'm going to be
Hmm.
and be photographed in that. So there's this tightrope you got to walk between what the parent wants, wants to see, and who the kid wants to be. And I found that to be the hardest walk. Um, Kids who want to like do more hair and do more makeup or do like just like flex more, um then I feel like the kids are like Neo in the Matrix when he figures it out and he's like and the whole Matrix like flexes with him. I feel like kids are there and the parents are Agent Smith over there like fuck is happening.
Yeah, yeah.
So balancing the walk between how parents feel about their child turning into a young adult
Hmm.
and how the kid feels about being a child that's turning into a young adult. Because for me, most of my senior sessions happen in the second semester of high school for them. I have yet to figure out how to get a parent to hire me in the beginning of the school year. I don't know what that is. But after Christmas break is normally when I normally get all the rush for
Hmm.
senior pictures. January, February, March is when I get a lot of push. And that is the time where kids are like, I'm done. I'm done with high school. I'm finished. Like I'm finishing up my last classes. I don't have to, I picked my college. I know
Hmm.
where I'm going. And parents are still like, you got a curfew at 8 o'clock. And them kids is like, I'm gonna be away at school and I ain't gonna have no,
Yeah.
why you acting brand new? Like, it's like, I'm not 12 anymore. So walking that line with parents has been a challenge, particularly because I'm so passionate about children as individuals. Like as a mom and as a human, I feel like parenting is a um, a thing that, particularly in the Black community, that we have to get better at. Um, that we have to get better at trusting our children to be humans and not mold them in our image and to let them be their full selves.
Hmm.
So that makes it more challenging for me to just smile and nod. Sometimes I'll be like, "So, mom, want to talk about this?"
Yeah.
And sometimes it helps, and sometimes it doesn't. And so right now, my senior sessions, it has been harder to get seniors on the walls of their home. They do albums pretty well, but I'm trying to get them those senior pictures on their walls. Particularly if they are not the only child, it becomes very difficult. I have learned that all my senior sessions have to come with a family session,
Hmm.
so that I can get the other kids on the wall too, and
Yeah.
parents don't feel guilty about that. And I understand that because hello, 3 kids, I
Yep.
understand this life. Um, I took my oldest child to New York for her senior pictures. They were done by the incomparable Charmy Pena, and my kids was like, my other two was like, oh. this is the standard for senior pictures. Okay, where are we going for mine? I'm like, we got 4 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
We also had to make sure like we're doing family pictures, so that we have family pictures on the wall that go along with those senior pictures. No, we won't be going to New York for those family pictures, but we have to make sure that when I put these senior pictures on the wall, that there are family pictures to go with them so that my other children don't scream mutiny.
Yeah.
Because they already think I play favorites and I don't.
Beautiful. So talking about, giving the albums to the seniors, trying to get them up on the walls, and I know you're a jack of all trades. I mean, you have birth photography and newborns on your walls, weddings, portraits. So how does Fundy come in? Like, how did that software help you be better at the album design and the wall art sales that you're doing now?
So, I am a Fundy purist. I have been using Fundy since the very beginning. I was in the beta group of version one, um, and Fundy has always been essential to me being able to do my job the way I want to do it, like since the very beginning. I'm not in business for what's it been, 15 years without Fundy. I'm not like
Mm,
hands down best investment I ever made. Um, and if I had to pay for it every year, I would. If I had like, if you had told me I had to pick three things that I have to keep to be able to run a business, I would keep my camera, I would keep my computer, and I would keep Fundy software. Like
wow.
literally, first three things, period. Because it has always made it easier. Like I remember because I was a graphic designer before I was a photographer, because I was a poet.
Okay.
I've lived five lives. Um, I was a poet for a while, and when I was a poet, I did events. And in the events that I did, I had to make the flyers myself, and I used Photoshop for that a lot of times because I liked to use the layers. I was a layer kid. I liked all the layers in Photoshop. So when photography became digital, it was easy for me to learn how to edit in Photoshop because I was already using the software for graphic work, which is
Hmm.
really like Photoshop is really a graphic program, and
Yeah.
it was for like artwork, and then like you were supposed to take that into Illustrator and then like keep going from there. InDesign, like they were all pieces to the same puzzle. And then so when it became time for me to pull photos in and then retouch them, man, let me tell you what. I did all kinds of stuff. Oh God, I had people in film strips. I did like floating on buildings. I did all the stuff. I did it all. Like we did all the things in my early years of having Photoshop and learning how to use digital um images and like being able to retouch them and then be able to use them and then have them printed, save them as JPEGs and have them printed. Like that was a whole process. And then so once I was like, wedding albums or should still be a thing because like it was an automatic. If I'm not sliding them in, then how do you make them? You put them on the page, you print a big page, you slide that big page in. Because back in the day, you could buy a wedding album with whole slides like a
Yeah.
scrap, and
Hmm.
that's like you would slide the pages in. Um, and so I was like, let me design these pages. I don't like squares. I'm gonna drop the images in and like work it that way. And those took forever. Oh my God, the amount of time.
I believe
So
it.
the first version of Fun Day I ever tried took me from a 40-hour wedding album design. Like it took me 40 hours. Like it was a work week to design an album to like 8. And I was like,
Where have you
you,
been my whole life?
right? I was like, wait, I'm done? Like, done?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I was like, oh, like, I'm pretty sure after I was like, who is this Andrew Funderburg and how can I marry him? Like, for real. Like, I was like, I love him.
Yeah, yeah.
Where is he? So, and I've been stuck ever since. Like, I was like, I don't care what you charge for this software. I want it. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it is going down. And so like I have been using every version, like ever since, like without question. When he drops the proofer,
Yeah.
you mean I don't have to figure out how to email these things? Because I wasn't doing in person then.
Mm-hmm.
I was like sending them the thing and then getting it back and trying to work it through email. I didn't get into in-person sales until probably 2017 or so, 16, 17, something like that. So
Gotcha.
before that, I was like sending emails and getting it back and trying to work that whole thing out. But boy, he got that proofer going, and I was like, for real, you can have my firstborn. It's cool. She's great. You'll enjoy her. Like this,
Yeah.
she does dishes. It'll be fine. And, and then he dropped this. He just dropped the social stuff. I'm like, bruh, you're just trying to make my whole life easy. I was like, this is nice because I don't Instagram as much as I should. I'm working on that. That's one of my things for 2023. I need to Instagram better. And the Fundy social designer makes that so much easier for me to like not have to think about it as hard, to be able to make reels, to be able to make like to move in the way that the like it literally translates something that already exists and works for me, Fundy, into something that didn't. It makes it
Yeah.
easier for me to do the thing that I really hated doing. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I can just while I'm in here. Like I'm already in here doing the wall art. I'm
Mm-hmm.
already in here doing the album. I can just as easy start doing the social media while I'm in here. Great. So like I can't possibly leave Fundy. I
I love it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's literally my favorite piece of software. I literally just like the phone before I was on the phone with you. I was on the phone with another photographer. I walked her through using Fundy, how to design an album. We designed one over Zoom, showed her how to use it. She's about to send a 100-page album to her client to try to see if they're interested. Like
Amazing.
it is, it's just the best tool. Like
Awesome.
I don't get through the pandemic without it. Like I
Yeah.
sold albums to people who I didn't shoot their weddings, like
Mm-hmm.
because their photographers don't offer albums. And I was like, well, I do. What size book would you like?
Yeah.
And like
It's easy, right?
I made $20,000 worth of like unsolicited income using Fundy. Like I can't not have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I would love to hear about either like your most memorable or your largest sale using Fundy and what that
Oh,
experience was like between you and the experience for the client.
um, I had so my well, let's see, on a single day book, my largest sale has been like 13,000. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was a maxed out two volume book. Um, uh, we used Graphic Studios for the print. It was a 80-page Go book and a 100-page Young book in
Okay.
a two volume box. Um, the client was she was like she hired me for 6 hours. I stayed like everything about that wedding just went great. Like nothing about it was off. Like we all thought it was going to be a little more stressful than it was. Like everything just caught a groove. At our 6 hour point, I asked her if she wanted me to stay. She was like, yeah, I want you to stay. I told her, I tell all my clients that for every hour I stay, you should expect that I'm going to show you 10 or 15 extra wedding pages in your
Mm-hmm.
book. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like even if I don't charge you for the time,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
should know that you're going to see more stuff and your wedding album's going to be larger.
Yeah.
It just is. There's nothing I can do about that. If
Mm-hmm.
you want a short book, you need short time. If you want to tell your story, storybooks are novels, and we sell novels around these parts. And
Ooh, that's a soundbite.
they laugh when I say it, and then when we get in the sales, they be like, "Oh shit, she meant that shit." Meant that shit. So we ended up staying for like 12 hours. Like we shut it down. Like I was there until the DJ wrapped up. Me and the DJ was talking while he was taking speakers down. Like we had been there all day. We had time to do everything we wanted. I had time to do sunset photos. I had time to do. We did a sparkler exit, like everything we wanted to do, we had time to do. All of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
all of it. Like nothing got canceled. Like we did pre-wedding pictures. We had time to do the couple. We had time to do the guys by themselves and everything I wanted to do. It's very rare that I get the opportunity to do everything that I want to do with a couple. Something usually has to give. Not in this case. Everything I wanted, I got. And so when it came time for her to come in and take a look, I was like, I don't want to be the one to tell you that I got like 180 pages to show you. I was like, I'm scared to show you the book. She was like, don't be scared. I was like, I, I don't even feel good about showing you a book with this many pages in it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot. She was like, Raquita, you literally moved in. Like, we was together all day. And I was like, we were literally together from like 8 in the morning to like 11:30 at night. We was together all day. And she was like, I knew it was going to be obscene. Let's go. And so we sat down. I showed her the book. She was like, there are some minor changes I would want to make. I was like what? She was like she liked this picture instead of that one, and this picture instead of
Mm-hmm.
it was like minor, super minor stuff. And she was like, okay, so what's my damage? And I was like, well, less your studio credit and less the discount for buying it as is, because I give you a discount if I don't have to do any major changes.
Yeah.
It was like $11,000 plus tax or something like 13 grand
Yeah.
after tax.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, bet. Can I put it on a card? And I was like, you gonna pay for it now? We're not breaking it into pieces or nothing. She was like, no, I'll pay she was like, I'll pay Amex before I make you wait for it. I was like, okay. And she swiped it and was good. And I was like, I can do this for a living, y'all. Like, I was like, okay. And she was like, so happy with it. And I find that that's what I have learned lately. In the last like 3 to 4 years, like I started having like my album average like shot up around 2017, 2018 is when albums really started being my thing. Um, and I want to say it was like 17, 18, 19 were the years where I was like, oh, albums really are going to be my thing. Like we're really in this space. Um, And I have found that it's never that clients don't think it's worth it. It's whether or not they can afford it or whether or not they can find a way to afford it. Like
Yeah.
she was like, I got the space on my credit card. Let's go. She didn't have 10 grand in cash, but she wanted it bad enough that she charged it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've had clients who were like, you got to wait until I'm about to sell my house. I'm going to sell my house. And when I get some extra money from the house sale, I'm going to buy my book. And
Mm-hmm.
literally called me back and bought the book when the house sale went through. Like, it's never that people don't think it's worth it. Because I am the kind of salesperson that I am extremely upfront with the numbers. I don't want anybody surprised. I don't want you to be nervous about it. I don't want, like, I'm very clear about what the numbers are. And I do everything I can. Like, if I get a sale, they get a sale. If I get a deal, they get a deal. I'm not afraid to pass on savings to my clients. I'm not afraid to take a small hit to be able to get them where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can't like that is the number one goal is for them to feel like they knew what we were getting into. Jerry Johannes always says, he tells his clients, my job is to make you want it and your job is to resist. And I live by
Mm.
that. Like I live by
Mm-hmm.
that. If my job is to if I do my absolute best for you, you gonna want everything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the whole point. Like if
Yeah.
you walk in here and you don't want nothing, I'm wondering if I need to retire, if I need to put my camera down. Like I want you to want this. Like I
Yeah.
want you to want it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't, what are we doing? Like
Yeah.
what's the point? So
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Like for anybody that's listening, like I feel like they just need to rewind the last 10 minutes of everything that you just went over because it is a huge just mindset shift as to the meaning behind albums going from, loving yourself publicly and loving, the people in your
mhm,
household publicly and then figuring out how to do that because yes, it comes at a price. But when you have great guidance and you find, you are the photographer, or for people who are listening, they can learn how to be that photographer to guide them. along
Absolutely.
that
I feel like
process, they can figure it out.
absolutely. I feel like that's something that people are figuring out as a society. I feel like this whole self-care thing that has been very popular in the last few years. I think that this is like, I feel like boudoir photographers are really reaping the benefits of that whole self-care mantra thing that's
Mm-hmm.
happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that same theory applies to portraits, it applies to children, it applies to pets, it applies to weddings, it applies to all of our work. Like, and I know that if the big hurdle for photography as a genre is us, the photographers. I can tell you how many times I talk to photographers and they say, I can never. And I'm like, you're not supposed to ever. Like, this is not about you. You got to get out of your own way. It's not about you.
Mm.
It's not about you. Just like as a parent, as I parent, it's not about me. You got to get out of your own way. It's not about
Yeah.
you. It's about what's best for them. As a parent, I know that the things that I choose for my children are not about what's best for me. It's about what's best for them. And
Mm-hmm.
the same thing applies to my experience as my client's photographer, as my client's wall art handler, as the person who designs the book that's going to tell them. Like, my family went to Costa Rica in 21, I think. It was the only 10 days I had off in the summer of 21. I shot 17 weddings in June and literally ran myself ragged through fall.
Wait, did
And
you say you photographed 17 weddings in 1 month? Wow.
so one day I'll tell you the story about how not to reschedule in a pandemic
Oh.
because I screwed the pooch on that one so hard.
Gotcha.
But that's another lesson for another
Yes.
day. But I took a break in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and my family and I went to Costa Rica for 10 days. And the best thing I did was take a photographer with me. I took Kirsten Bethman Lewis with me to Costa Rica. And she documented my family so I wouldn't have to. So she took photos so that I wouldn't have to
Mm-hmm.
think about picking up my camera unless I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I think she was there for 5 of the 10 days or 7 of the 10 days or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we made an album out of it. And my children, it's at my mom's house because we took my mom with me. And
Okay.
so my mom immediately jacked the album. As mom, uh, this is the case for parent copies. But she jacked the book. And my children, every time they go to my mom's house, if we are there for longer than 3 or 4 hours, they somehow somebody ends up on the bookshelf, pulling it off and opening it up and talking about Costa Rica every time we go
Gotcha.
over there. And like for me, I know that that book isn't necessarily for me. It is
Mm-hmm.
for my children who might not even have been old enough to really remember Costa Rica. Like my son was 10 when we went, which is like the borderline for kids who remember trips. But he
Yeah,
remembers
yeah.
Costa Rica well because he's got photo.
Mm-hmm.
Like he opens that book and he remembers that's my house and my house was on the beach and that was the tree and that's where we went and got coconuts every morning and this is where we did this and like he remembers all of this stuff. And when you spend that kind of like that's the thing that always cracks me up. People assume that the the families don't value the photography when you really just have to point out I spent an obscene amount of money taking 13 people to Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
Obscene amount of money. The amount that I spent on Kirsten was paltry in comparison,
Yeah.
so that they will remember. Like, I need them to remember. Like, what's the point in spending all the money if they're gonna forget?
Yeah. That
What's the
makes
point
sense.
in like what's the point in going taking your children all over the world if they're not gonna remember?
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I'm a firm believer in travel for children because I think it changes the way that their mind works.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be subconscious things that they remember about the world. So yeah, sure. But you want them to remember your trip. You want them to remember that they are a world citizen because you took them places. Like I have friends who don't remember their trips to Disney World with their parents. They don't remember at all. Shoot, my sister we went with my aunt when we were kids. My sister does not remember. I
Wow.
remember the trip.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember. I remember the like details. My sister don't remember nothing. She's like, I know we went. I don't remember nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they need to remember.
Yeah.
Like these are foundational things about their life. They need
Yeah.
to remember.
And I love how you said, like, why spend the money on something so important for your family for them just to forget?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
that's wow.
I really wish that photographers, even more so than people, like people will remember, they'll come around. But I wish that photographers really grasp onto the idea that we are not just digital artists. Like the digital world is fine and well and good, but it's just like there's just as much temporariness in the digital world, especially right now with AI happening. Like the AI of it all is very interesting to me because there's going
Hmm.
to be a time and a space where um, people will have to reckon with the idea that they don't have real pictures of their life. Like they will only have these imagined scenarios.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's photographers' jobs to hold space for what is real and what is honest and clear.
Yeah.
Art is one thing, memory and history is another. And AI has no place in the recording of history. And so we have got to be stewards to that. I feel like we
Yeah.
have to be stewards to that. And I am all for playing with it and having a good time and using it to remove a trash can and some exercise and all of that stuff. But I'm never gonna put my clients in Machu Picchu if that's not where we were at. Like
Yeah.
to we didn't go to Peru. I'm not putting you in Peru in these photos. I'm not gonna do it because that's not what we did. Now, if I was a digital artist, if my job was to create digital artwork, I would absolutely be on that. But that's not what I do. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
At least not today.
Rakita, you are dropping gems today. You know, like saying that it's the photographer's job to hold space for what is real. Like that is like I feel like that sums up, really your whole philosophy of what we've been talking
Absolutely.
about real people, real moments, and real remembrance of
Absolutely.
what is actually happening. I
Hmm.
absolutely love it. So I want to shift gears a little bit. I have two more
Sure.
questions, and then we're going to jump into my favorite segment, which is rapid fire. So it's just
Okay.
a few rapid fire questions. So I have two more questions. One, who has been your greatest influence and mentor in the industry, and what is one lesson you have learned from that person?
Oh, a good question. Um, a really good question. I haven't had a lot of mentors, as far as work has been concerned. Um, but in the industry, I have found a mentor and friendships in some people. I don't know that I could pick one. Charmy Pena has been invaluable to me as a human and um, as a person and an artist, and the way that she thinks about business and life has been invaluable to me. She's outstanding. Um, uh, Kirsten Bethman Lewis, I cannot say enough about how much she has influenced the way that I see. She has influenced the way I see my work, the way I view um, the way family matters in images. I don't do family documentary work. That's what she specializes in. I will do it if asked, but it's not where my focus and heart is. Um, but she makes me think about what is important about the memories that we create. Like, she pushes me out of the idea that things should be posed. I live by the 80-20 rule for posing these days. Like 80% of what I capture is never going to be posed and 20% is. And so she forces me to rethink how I look for that 80
Mm-hmm.
and how I think about that 80. Um, uh, Michelle Harris keeps me very focused on being clear about my work as a business person. She is the person who checks in on me and makes sure I'm okay and that I'm doing the things that I want to do. Fundy keeps me. Fundy has always been a light for me as far as thinking about business in different ways. He's a very, very thoughtful man,
Mm-hmm.
and very open. Like um, Jason. I'm going to mispronounce his last name.
Marino.
Yes, Marino. Jason Marino is literally one of my favorite humans on the planet. And he makes me think about the world um in different ways. And I think that's what the thing that I love about my circle right now is it is filled with people who make me think differently than I would normally. They challenge me at every opportunity in every direction. Um, I'm a strong mind and I have a big voice and I say what I think. And those are all people who will be like, okay, it's but Raquita, and will literally have are willing to have the conversation and challenge me
Mm-hmm.
on what I think and how I feel. And I really appreciate people who are willing to do that. Um, I have a hard time. I burn bridges with people because I will push and push and push until people be like, I'm out. And I'm like, sorry. I can't even help it. I don't even know
Yeah.
how to not do it. But like I love people who are willing to have the conversations with me
Mm-hmm.
and willing to push and go with me in any direction that we need that the conversation needs to go in, and I'm grateful for them all the time.
Awesome. You know what I love about your circle and the people that you've mentioned in your circle, and even the people that's in your heart, is that you started with film, and we've come so far, since film, and you're still not too. Um, you have room to grow and to be challenged by people of
All the time.
all
All the
different
time.
ages, all different stages, and that's amazing.
Every I, if you're not ready to grow, willing to push, what are you doing? Like I don't know I don't know any other way to be. Like I feel like the day that I stop being open is the day that it's time for me to lay it down and quit. Like
Hmm.
I want I want to I want to make the people around me better. I want the people around me to make me better. I want I want it to feel like a challenge and I want it to feel attainable, like whatever it
Hmm.
is. I want people to want it. I want people to push for it. I want people to drag me kicking and screaming, and I want them to let me drag them kicking and screaming. I want to go through it together. That's what community is to
Yeah,
me. Like that is literally the foundation of community with me. People who are going to fight through it with me.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
mhm.
So, final question before we get into rapid fire: what advice do you have for any aspiring wedding or portrait or any other industry that they're trying to get into, any other niche? But what advice do you have for
um,
aspiring photographers?
learn, learn more than you think you need. At the point in which you think you're ready, do some more. Um, I feel like in this day and age where it is so easy to start a business of like not just photography, any business. It is easy to go like the online access to an EIN, a website, business cards, a lot of yada yada, all the things. It like business phone numbers, you can Google number yourself to death. You can do all the things and have a functioning, legitimate business in an hour. Like real talk. You could like three if you was like, I care about the pictures I'm gonna put out there. Like
Hmm.
you can have a legitimate business going in an hour. My God. Like it's so easy, but it's so hard. And that's the thing that I think, like you don't know what you don't know. So find out. Like I know so many doors get closed on you when you're trying to know. When you're just trying to know. I know because every time I talk to somebody about mentoring or somebody calls me and they ask me for advice or they want to talk about photography or they want to carry bags and figure it out, I let them come because I want you to know. what it is that you're asking for real. Like there are levels to it, but
Mm-hmm.
I can just show you my level and let you see what the deal is,
Yeah.
because I want you to be able to understand what it is that you're really getting into and how to make that work for you. Like there's more. I'm one of the few people who thinks there's enough room for anybody who wants to be a photographer. There are enough other people who are not photographers that you will find your 25 or 30 people a year who you need to sell to be able to make a living, if that's what you want to do. I
Yeah.
also think that I wish more people would slow down before they quit their jobs. Um, because uh solo on like we tend to create jobs and not businesses. Like we create like entrepreneurship is creating a business. What
Mm-hmm.
photographers do is really create a job for
Yeah.
themselves. Like most people are not actually creating businesses. They're just creating a job. And if they can't do the job, they suffer. And so learning how to create a business is a bigger ball of wax that doesn't take an hour to set up. Like creating a business and not a job is a different conversation that I don't think enough photographers are having. And that's the thing that I would tell you. You can live photography like a part-time job. You can live it like a full-time job. But living it like a full-time job, you gotta do all the things that you would do if it was a business and you were going to retire from it. You got to be able to set yourself up for retirement. You got to think about it long term. And I've been in it for 20 years. I'm 46, so 32, 31 years, 32 years since I was 14, 32 years since I was 14, and I'm 32 years in, and you would think I should be ready to retire from any job I've been doing for 30 years, and I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is a flaw in the way that I have conducted my business for so long.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Rakita, you've been absolutely amazing. I feel like whoever's listening to this, we need to rewatch this and listen to it multiple times. I mean, just the whole life philosophy that you have around loving people, around people loving themselves, and why they need to print, and then how to get over that hurdle of printing into entrepreneurship. Like this is a whole masterclass that you've just given us. Thank you so
I
much.
just want people to have the best experience they can in their work. And ironically, I feel like it takes about 100 grand a year for you to be able to live and be happy.
Hmm.
And so I want you to figure out how to get there. If photography is how you're going to get there, I don't think you can get there to 100 grand in digital files unless you're doing some excessively high volume.
Yeah.
And volume matters. Like you should talk to Jason Moreno if you want to talk about volume.
Yeah.
Volume is there and you can do it, but it's a whole different ball of wax. It is not the same.
Gotcha. All right, so we have a few rapid fire questions. Just first thing that comes to your mind, just so that we can
Okay.
learn a little bit more about you. All right,
Okay.
so first one, what is your favorite travel destination for photography, work or pleasure?
Um, Costa Rica was my favorite place to photograph. I like to photograph personally when I travel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like to go and see, and my camera is how I see things. Like I see things completely differently when I take a camera with me versus when I don't. So I like to carry a little. I carry a little Nikon Z5 with me when I travel. Like 35 millimeter lens or a 50 millimeter, and
Mm-hmm.
it helps me see things
Be-
in the ways that I want to see the world.
beautiful. Are you team pets or no pets?
Oh, pets! I got all the dogs and cats. I got two dogs. I got a cat. If my husband would let me, I would have another dog. I'm trying to talk him into a Great Dane right now. It's not working. It's
Gotcha.
not.
What is your favorite lens to shoot with?
Um, I've been shooting the Fuji medium format with the 63, and I like that a lot. Um, my favorite lens ever is it a 59? Nikon has a 59. Is it a 59? I've only shot with it twice, and
Okay.
I was like, can I have one? But I can't because it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
My second favorite lens is the Canon 200 millimeter 2.0. I can't have that either because it's expensive. It's like 6 grand. But those are my two favorite lenses that cost too much and are so butter, like so
Gotcha. Beautiful. What would be your secret spy name?
My secret spy name?
Yep.
Oh. My secret spy name would be Jasmine.
Awesome. What print product makes you the most money?
Um, it's probably a tie between the Fineo, not Fineo, the Floricolor. Um, it used to be called. They changed the name of it recently. They have a suede line of books.
Yep.
And I sell that a lot, but they changed the name
I
recently, and
think
I
it's
don't know.
Lunic.
Yeah, but it's not called that anymore.
Okay.
It's called something else. They changed the name of it, but it was the Lunic. And I was selling that like hotcakes. And that was tied with the Graphy Young book. I sell a
Okay.
lot of those. Those are my 1-2 punch. My
Gotcha.
clients either want that, one or the other.
hmm What is your favorite thing to do on a rainy day?
Read. I like a good book, and like a glass of tea, a good book, and and I also like to actually walk in the rain. So,
hmm hmm Beautiful. A few more questions. Where's your happy place?
wherever my husband is,
I
like,
love it. Least favorite thing about running a business?
um, running the business. I don't want to do this part. I just want to take pretty pictures.
hmm
Um, yeah, like my least favorite thing about running a business is having to own mistakes. I have learned how to own mistakes, um, and just deal with it, but it is my least favorite thing.
Beautiful. And final question. What is something that comes easy to you that may not come easy to others?
Um, I am very much a people person, and I know not everybody is. I am very the whole I see the best in people is not something that other people can do easily. Um, I am working very hard to be a better version of myself tomorrow than I was today. That is my life mantra. Like, and so I'm always trying to choose the thing that I will wish that I had done if when I think about it tomorrow.
hmm
So the way that I respond to people, the way that I um respond, like I have faltered and made missteps, and it has cost me relationships, it has cost me time, and I try very hard to learn from all of those things as quickly as possible so that I don't make the same mistake again. Because I don't like to lose people.
hmm
Like my Facebook is always maxed out on friends because I try to hold on to people. I like it is hard for me to narrow down my Facebook community
Yeah.
because I know most of the vast majority of people on my Facebook page. I know them, and I want to know them, and I want to know how they're doing and what they're feeling. And like, if I could get paid to just love people, that would be the best job. Can I just get a
Perfect.
check for this? Should be great.
I love it. I love it. So, Rakita, I want to give you some time before we wrap up, to share with people how they can find you, how they can learn
So,
from you, how they can work with you. If you have anything coming out, the floor is yours.
I am working on setting up a workshop for, if not this year, next year. I have had about 4 people in my studio in the last month, and my husband was like, "If you don't start doing a workshop," I'm like, "Okay, sir." So we will be announcing a workshop eventually. But you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I am on Twitter. I am on TikTok. I'm trying to be a more responsible person who talks about photography more often, because I talk about the world a lot. Um, and I talk about people a lot. Most of my posts and stuff are literally about people being better, like being better versions of ourselves at all the time. But I think that makes me a better photographer too. So
I love it. Rakita, you have been absolutely amazing on this segment of Success by Design. I can't wait to just get a big hug from you like the next time that we
I'm
meet in
sure we
person.
will see each other some point this year.
Yes, awesome. So, thank you again, and I look forward to chatting with you later. Bye
Absolutely.
bye.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.